I've touched lightly on a subject in the past about how through music and movies and just general social engineering back in the West, we as men have been taught a lot of really counterproductive behaviors that work against us. And it's just so much a part of how we were raised that we need to unlearn certain things, especially if we're going to move over to the Philippines or Vietnam, anywhere abroad where the social dynamic is just simply more positive and you can have a more active social life with women than you could in the West. If you're going to start dating more and having relationships abroad, it's really to your benefit to examine yourself on these four things that we're going to talk about. Four things that I believe every man should unlearn if he hasn't done so already. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Now, the first item to unlearn is somewhat foundational for some of the other mistakes that men end up making. And what it is the mistake of putting women on a pedestal. Now, I was raised, and many of us were by our parents as kids, we were often told, well, you need to respect women. Now, there is truth. You want to have respect for women, but you want to have respect for everybody, except for those who don't deserve any respect. And you want to have some respect for yourself. And that's the balance we were not given. We were simply told that, women are just sort of elevated. They are, and if you listen to the lyrics to a lot of Motown songs and comedy romance movies, that you might have seen during the 80s and 90s, you look at it all, and the woman is presented as the end-all, be-all, again, lifted on a pedestal. She needs to be just chaste because she's such a prize, and you just sacrifice and do everything you can to obtain this woman of your dreams. That's the misnomer. That's the wrong information that we were raised with. So what happens is a lot of guys, it's just part of their nature. They think of themselves as, oh, I'm a good guy, I respect women. And when they approach women, they approach them like they're some kind of celebrity, especially if they're attractive. And this sets the stage for everything to go wrong. Number one, when a guy approaches a woman and he hasn't even talked to her yet, but he's already in his mind lifted her up on this pedestal to be adored and admired. Again, she hasn't even merited any reason to do that. But when a guy does that, a couple things happen. Number one, from the woman's point of view, he's just another idiot telling her the same things that every other idiot has told her. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, wow, you're just so amazing. Can you do me the favor of talking to me for 3 minutes? Women are not turned on by that at all. And yet, that's what society has told us to do all these years, out of respect for women. Now, again, I'm all for respecting other people across the board, not just women. But you don't put women above anybody else. The best thing you can do is examine within yourself. Do you do this? A lot of the guys that freeze up, every time I tell them, hey, in the Philippines, you see a pretty woman, walk up to her, say hi, start some conversation. The reason they freeze up is because they have elevated her so high. They immediately go into this, oh, I'm not worthy mentality, and they freeze up, and then the moment's gone, and they're like, oh, darn, I really should have talked to her. So stop, if you've been doing this, if you see this in yourself, stop putting women on a pedestal. Now, as I said, that's sort of the foundation for the other bad mindsets that we've been taught. The second one is men who do not set boundaries. Okay? They already have women on a pedestal. So let's say they start getting involved in dating a woman. And what happens is she starts giving him bad behavior, unwanted behavior. It might be that she criticizes every little thing he does. It might be that she expects him to buy her stuff every time they go on a date. And it's really subtle. It's not the amount of money. It's just simply you're walking through the mall, you're trying to spend time with her, get to know her, and inevitably it's like every single date, 1, 2, 3 different shops. Oh, I really want this. I would really like to get this. Oh, I've always, can you buy it for me? Okay, set boundaries. Either she's there to get to know you or she's there just so you can pay for her stuff. So you have to set boundaries and just say, no. But hey, tell me more about your family. Tell me more about your background. Now, if she's interested in you, she'll switch right back to having a real conversation. But if you start realizing a bit of coldness because she didn't get what she wanted, there's your answer. This is not somebody you want a second date with, okay? So set boundaries. Don't let women walk all over you. Because, here's a news flash. Women don't respect a man that they can walk all over. If they can abuse you and you don't say, hey, hold on a second, don't talk to me like that. If you don't do that, they will not have respect for you. And deep in their psyche, there's a little voice there saying, well, heck, if I can walk over him, probably anybody else can too. This is not a protector provider. He's not even a protector. How's he going to stand up against, someone else? And it could be anything. It could be, contesting a warranty or whatever, just be the man, take care of this kind of thing in a relationship. She's thinking to herself, well, if he's such a pushover for me, how is he going to fight on my behalf or our family's behalf when the day comes that he needs to do so? Women don't respect a man that basically allows himself to be used as a doormat. A lot of people have said, oh, it's natural in women to do what they call like a crap test. I'm going to give him a little bit of crap and see how he responds. Yeah, there's some truth to that. But what you need to do, again, don't go overboard and jump down their throat, but in a firm way, the way that a man should, is let her know, okay, don't raise your voice like that. That's really uncool. You got something to tell me, but don't scream at me like that. If you're going to do that all the time, I think we're done. You need to put her in her place when she's giving you bad behavior. So that would be the second thing. Set boundaries to what you will and will not tolerate. The third thing is have a standard and stick to it, okay? There are so many guys that, number one, they don't even know what kind of woman that they're looking for. They're just hoping to find a woman. They don't sit in. I recommend this. Sit down with a piece of paper, a notepad, index card, doesn't matter, and just write 5 things. 5 things that you absolutely must have in a woman for you to consider her for a long-term relationship. Now, if you're just looking for somebody for, a couple hours or the weekend, you really don't need much of a criteria other than she looks like healthy, not a drug addict, and, whatnot. But if you're looking for somebody for a long-term relationship, well, then write down certain things. And it may not be the same for all of us, but there's certain common things that we all, I think, should have as a standard. Okay? In my case, my things that I knew in my head that I knew I had to have in a woman that I was willing to consider for a long-term relationship, number one, I had to find her attractive. I did. Now that's different from I want a woman that everybody thinks is attractive, because then you're trying to please other people. No, if you find her attractive, that's what matters. And she may have, whatever, a goofy smile. She may have, big ears. She might have whatever. But if you find her attractive, that's what matters. So one of my criteria was I find her attractive. Second thing was character. Does she have actual character? Is she the kind of person I can count on to do the right thing? rather than the wrong thing, the giving thing rather than the selfish thing. Does she have decent character? If she gets overpaid 50 pesos when she gets change from the cashier, is she going to silently keep it, or is she going to give it back and say, oh, you made a mistake, you overpaid me, here you go. That's character, or at least a small part of it. So in my case, I need to find her attractive. Does she have character? And then my third one is a bit ambiguous. I know what it means, but for you it might seem a bit, again, ambiguous, is spark and magic. You might want to call that chemistry, personality, but there has to click, this meeting of the minds or meeting of personalities to where not only do we feed off of each other, like an oscillating, sine wave or something, but it's a positive thing, because you can click with a woman in a way that is argumentative, and at the beginning it seems cute and fun. But really, over the long term, that argumentative oscillation, that frequency that you have between you, it gets worse and it gets uglier over time. I don't want a woman that I have to contend with over every little thing in my life. She's going to make my life miserable. But if I meet a woman that there's this spark and magic where when we're together, we enjoy making each other happy. We enjoy making each other laugh, which kind of ties into another criteria I had, sense of humor. Does she have a sense of humor? When things get stressful and tense, can she lighten it up? And maybe you're the one that wants to lighten it up. I've been with women that, tense situation comes up. I'll try to lighten it up with some levity, a little joke or something. And man, they just get they get worse. They get even more stressed out, and they look at you like, well, can't you take anything serious? And, I don't need a woman like that. Can they look at it with a positive outlook? There's just a few things, but the main point I want to make here is have a standard. And when you meet a woman that again, it might help to write it down on an index card or something. When you start dating a woman, you've had a couple dates, go back to your paper and go, does she check the boxes? Does she have these things that I'm looking for in a woman? Because in the moment, you're just happy to have a woman in your presence, and it's all maybe good for the moment. But objectively, you want to look at that paper and go, because you might look at her and go, well, she is attractive and she is kind of funny, but man, she's not mature. Or man, she's just flaky, or she criticizes too much. She's too materialistic. Be willing to have a standard and stick to it. And I know the temptation is, oh, I can fix that. Give me some time. I can fix that. Be really careful when you find yourself saying that, because a lot of people, most people, they are who they are. They can improve. I'm not saying they can't, but usually it's going to take a lot of work. So if they're doing something that bugs you now, expect to put up with it for another 3 to 5 years before you maybe get them to change. The fourth thing that really trips up so many guys and gets them into so much trouble, causes them to lose a bunch of money, is having this scarcity mindset that they developed in the West and taking it with them to, again, the Philippines, Thailand, wherever. This scarcity mindset, I'm lucky I even have a woman in my life. I got to keep this one because I don't know when I'll get another one. It's what you might call the beggars can't be choosers mindset. And what you have to do is realize anywhere that you're at, even in a place that actually has scarcity as far as the options that you're looking for, you're better off jettisoning and getting rid of a woman who is not up to par for what you want, rather than putting up with her, becoming a doormat for her, and trying to rehabilitate her. It's better to not have a woman. And in the Philippines, there are so many women that are open to having a relationship, that are good women. There is no reason to be putting up with bad behavior. And what happens is guys have this scarcity mindset and they commit too quickly. That's the fourth thing. Committing too quickly because they think, I got to lock this down. I got here and okay, so she's like not attractive to me and I was kind of hoping for better and whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and marry marry her. And whatever demands she has, whatever hoops she wants me to go through, I guess I'll just have to do that because, I just got to hang on to this. I got to commit to it. She wants me to be her boyfriend, I'll be her boyfriend. She wants to get married, okay, we'll get married. She wants me to buy her a house before we get married, okay, I'll do that. See, that whole committing right away mentality, it'll destroy you. What you need to do is unlearn that and walk, don't run. Walk into a relationship calmly. You meet a woman, you have a couple dates, you go back home, you look at your index card. Yeah, okay, she seems to meet all the criteria. Don't go proposing to her in 3 months. No, just walk. Just take it slow. Because whether you're married or not married, you're spending time together in person. So the whole getting married part, that can wait. Give it a year, like I've always said. Take the time to really get to know her. Just take it slow. Don't let your brain start spinning because you think you'll never get another woman. I've run into guys that they committed too quickly, and then they're telling me, oh wow, guy, I got off the plane and there she was because we'd been chatting online for 6 months before I got here, and I never really dated anybody else, and she was insisting on marriage, so I went ahead and married her, the first 3 months I got here. And they go, man, and we're sitting there, watching the girls go by at the mall, and they're telling me, man, wow, guy, there's so many women here, aren't there? You don't want to be that buyer's remorse guy. Take your time, set your standards, have a proper frame of mind. Don't be putting her on a pedestal. Make sure that she meets your standard of what you're looking for. And if she doesn't, don't be afraid to move on. There are plenty of Filipino women looking for a long-term, serious, good relationship, a healthy relationship with a foreigner in the Philippines. But you need to disqualify and stop engaging with the women who don't meet that criteria. So you don't need to tell anybody. Just take a few minutes, get out a piece of paper, ask yourself, do I tend to put women on a pedestal? Do I tend to freak out and think that I'll never get another Filipina if I don't keep this one? Ask yourself, do I set boundaries? Do I really enforce boundaries? Or do I just keep my mouth shut and let people walk all over, especially women? And do I have a standard of what I'm looking for? Do I actually know what it is? Do I know what the top 5 things are that I'm looking for in a woman? So just do that little exercise for yourself. You'll put yourself way ahead of the pack.